So now everybody's starting to warm up inside the stadium here, and good to see a nice brightly-eyed and bushy-tailed. It's gone 7 o'clock, so we'll be underway very shortly. We'll just get a draw from the entry team. And then we'll be away with the senior Windercombe heats, sponsored by Kevin Butler, Sheep Scanning, and Merton Zari. Judges to the board, please. Shearing judges to the board. Heat 1 will be Kieran Bowden, Kevin Butler, Josh Quinn, Mitchell Menzies, Tawara Rangi Taylor, and Blake Crooks will be Heat 1. 1, 2. Okay, will we have those shearers for the board, please? Karen Bowden, Kevin Butler, Josh Quinn, Mitchell Menzies, Tafarangi Taylor, and Blake Crooks, please. That is Heat 1. Heat 2, Jack Gordon, Scott Cameron, Andrew Booth, Josh Devane, Joseph Gordon, and Adam Gordon. Test. Okay, shearers, rules for today are back socks only. Otherwise, you'd get ducked a couple of points. 2 points. So back socks, shearers, make sure you have been warned. And there's no seconds in the pen. So back out, Mr. Cobber. You don't want to upset these merinos. So a leisurely start here to the 55th Waimate Shears. And for those that don't know, I'm an import from the North Island. I'm John McBride, and I'll be your MC for the next couple of days. The big red-headed fella's gone down with a lurgy, so I hope he comes right soon. Mr. Norm Haraway, who was supposed to be assisting me, he's dropped me in the deep end. But anyway, we'll box on through. List of plants here. Mr. Tommy Wilson's just up there checking a little bit of feral trouble. Remember, shearers, back socks only. Heavily discounted points if you happen to miss that little bit of fluff on the bottom end. Chief referee for today is Mr. Robert McLaren, commonly known by another name, but we'll get to that as we get through the day. We got that plant sorted out, have we? Must be a bit of a squash feral or something. Change the feral. Are we good to go? Shearers on the board. Not quite. Just getting a change of dropper here. See how that goes. Ever so easy on these new plants. A few of us with the grey hairs remember used to get covered in grease and all sorts of things changing the dropper. That looks a bit better. We have pen staff in the pens. Everybody's happy. We get the okay from the referee. You're right, Paul. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the first event of the day, the 55th Waimate Shears Senior Winter Comb. Timekeepers ready. Judges, competitors, go. So it's a nice brisk morning here, a little bit different to maybe yesterday and the day before. A little bit of snow flurries right across the southern island of New Zealand. Not the most southern, but they call it the mainland. I'm not sure about that, as I'm an import, so there's a bit of debate. But these sheep here and these competitors are competing for the Kevin Butler sheep scanning and the Mertens Agri sponsorship. First prize is $700 here today. So we have 3 heats of the Senior Winter Comb. I require all competitors to be ready, willing and able to get up when your heat is allotted, so that we keep this competition flowing along. If you can't quite see what's happening up on the board, a little bit of shadow maybe, just not seeing it quite right for you, we have the big screen there that'll keep you up to date with what's going on throughout the competition. And the competition today is, as to say, starting with a Senior Winter Comb, then we move on to the Open Winter Comb. And then, of course, the wool handling starts this afternoon. This event will be running into a semi-final before the morning tea break. And then the finals of the Senior and Open will be before lunch and the presentations. Big lineup of judges throughout this competition. I believe there's something like about 21 shearing judges. Another different crew come in this afternoon for the wool handling. I see some of them here this morning already, just checking out how things are going to lay with this competition. A big thanks to the farmers for supplying these sheep. These competitors shearing 2 merinos. Surprisingly, the amount of rain that's been around has kept the outside cover of these merinos quite bright. Normally, when you shear them later on in the year, they've got a little bit of colour on the tip, and then you cut through and down to the skin, and out it comes pinky white. So we've got sheep number 2 on the board. In this shearing competition, Kevin Butler's down the belly. Likewise is Josh Quinn on stand number 3. Mitchell Menzies coming over the shoulder on the last side, down and out to the flank. Shearers are reminded, of course, back socks only. A deduction of a couple of points if you don't get that right. Very kind to the wool handlers of the shearers, flip their belly out onto the open side of the board. When they get onto the crossbreeds a bit later on, and in this competition, a little bit more of a flurry going on, and it'll be up to the wool handler to retrieve the belly from against the board. Heat number 2, please, will they get to the left-hand side of the stage. Heat number 2 is Jack Gordon, Scott Cameron, Andrew Booth, Josh Devane, Joseph Gordon, and Adam Gordon. If you guys like to get yourselves organised and get over to the left-hand side of the stage so we can roll on, our president, Mr. Warren White, is requesting that we have a constant supply of shearers ready to go. So Taylor from Murupara drops down into the first off shoulder on sheep number 2, just laying that big weather and nice and soft under the board. It's almost asleep, that sheep. He's doing such a fine job of it. Down the bottom end, Blake Crooks. Down the off leg now, the big undermine blows coming in. A little bit further advanced is the Mitchell Menzies up here on the 4 stand. Just leading the way at the moment is Josh Quinn from Seddon. Over the shoulder on the last side is Tafarangi coming under the shoulder and down and out to the flank. The young man from Murupara doing a nice job. I think he's picked up the pace a little bit and starting to lead the field. Not quite sure of the time they're doing on these sheep, but they're very, very careful this morning and they're making a nice job of it. Kievan Bowden switches off on the front stand just ahead, has a quick look along the board, says, I've got this one. Back sock's been tidied up by Quinn there on stand number 3. The senior Wintercombe, they're all vying for a place in that final. Some of these sheep are quite flat on the neck, but we're looking at the sheep number 2 on stand number 2 has got quite a bit of dewlap. A little bit of extra care and maximum use of the left hand to stretch out those wrinkles. As Kevin Butler comes under the table, under the shoulder and down and out to the flank. The wool getting thrown on the table here and being prepared. They've been instructed how to prepare this wool. The class has been in this morning and gave the wool handlers expert advice on how to prepare this wool for the farmer. You're looking for maximum dollars, so you need to get all that unsatisfactory wool out of the main line. Down and out to the flank for Mitchell Menzies. A little bit of work to do for Crooks down on stand number 6. Normally in the shearing shed you have the blast of the radio going hammers and tongs and putting out the beats. The only blast going at the moment is the heater down the back of the stadium here, just to keep us all a little bit more tepid. But I'm sure it'll warm up throughout the day. There's a nice clear day out there. Flew down from the Naki yesterday and there was snow from coast to coast here in the South Island. Spectacular views when you got a chance to look through the cloud. A little bit of coldness doesn't seem to worry these old wrinkly merinos though, as they thrive in the harsh conditions here in the south. Over the shoulder, look at that left hand is working away. The right hand only guides the handpiece. It's that left hand that pushes and probes. So it looks like we got our competitors for heat number 2 ready to rock. Important stuff. These senior competitors, $700 up for grabs if they make that first place in the final. Sponsored by Kevin Butler, Sheep Scanning and Merton's Agri. just still a couple of wriggles there from that Ovine as he just tries to get out the last leg. Oh, not playing the game. Pulls the dropper, and that'll be the time taken on stand number 6 for Blake Crooks. So thank you, Shears. If you move off to the right, that'll be awesome. Fresh, a lot of guys on from the left. Off to the right, Shears, please. On from the left. So on stand number 1, we have Jack Gordon, Scott Cameron, Sevi Taitoko, Andrew Booth, Josh Devane, Joseph Gordon, and Adam Gordon. Heat 3 will be Will Sinclair and Sevi Taitoko. Unless I have any additions to that. Okay, looks like we're ready to rock with heat number 2. All clear from the referee, Mr. Paul Harris. Timekeeper's right. Judges, competitors, go. The Waimate Spring Shear Senior Competition, heat number 2. Sponsored by Kevin Butler, Sheep Scanning, and Merton's Agri. Well, Kevin Butler was just shearing in the previous heat. He's hoping to pick up some of his prize money, no doubt. It is good to see these contestants willing to get up there and show their prowess in this the shearing game. Over the last 12 months or so, I have not been around a shearing competition, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm missing a beat here and there. You in the South Island have carried on with your competitions over the last little while, while we all suffered from a little bit of government poisoning. They stopped everything, wanted the country to stay still. But it was good to see these competitions like this carry on and just do a live stream for their supporters. The competitors were still here last year. And here we are back live. Nothing like catching up with a few old cronies and having a cup of tea or two. The wheels of industry must keep turning. And this fine wool is part of that wool industry, and I believe there's a firm from Norway out here chasing the extra long merino wool. And what we're trying to do with these shearing competitions is keep that wool to the one long length rather than just hacking it to bits and making short bits out of it. So that was the name of the game for the wool industry. 60 or 70 years ago, Godfrey Bowen was out there instructing shearers to keep that comb nice and flat on the skin, remove the wool with the least amount of blows per sheep. Things have upskilled a little bit since Sir Godfrey was doing his stint. And we have the likes of the legends of Sir David Fagan leading the way, who's here today in the judging panel. Been a pleasure to watch over the years of how he has gone about his craft. These aspiring shearers here in the senior, no doubt. Some of them will reach the open class. They've got to be able to shear over 300 sheep in an 8-hour day of this quality, and that's a no mean feat. The winter comb competition, a lot less teeth on the comb, 13 teeth on a normal flat comb. We would have got about 10 on this winter comb shear. Leaves a little bit of a ridge of wool just to let the snow hang on the tips rather than get down on the skin. If the weather turns real bad, that little bit of protection is like having a couple of weeks' growth to help protect the animal. And of course, without the live animal producing wool, the farmer gets no income. Once again, if the shearer hacks at the bits, he still gets half the income because the wool buyers don't want to have a lot of seconds and what have you. And just looking under the wool table here, as the wool handlers prefer this fleece for the bale, there is not a lot of second cuts coming underneath the table. So that's an awesome quality for the shearers. They're doing a marvellous job. Just got one more heat in the senior competition, sponsored by Kevin Butler and Merton's Agri. Sheep number 2 coming out now for Adam Gordon, down on the 6th stand. Joseph Gordon, also from the North Island, Masterton, goes around the back of the head at the front of the pack at the moment. The local man, Andrew Booth from Waimate, very carefully down the first off leg. Josh Devane, another man from up country, from Tai Happy, he's down the belly on his second sheep. Okay, just requesting Troy Christie, Patrick Duncan, Marco Rangaura, Rian Puna, Duncan Higgins, and Tari Edwards. If they are in the stadium, please, would you report to the entry table? So Christie, Duncan, Rangiuia, Puna, Higgins and Edwards. If you have entered this building, would you please report to the entry table at the front? So Joseph Gordon's completed the task. Got that out in pretty smart sort of time. You can say he was ringing the board in this heat. He'll be hoping he's done the quality. Good to see a few of the North Islanders are down here helping the South Islanders out in their winter shear. probably didn't like it, the conditions in the last couple of days, but the sheep didn't seem to mind because they're shearing very well. Over the last side now comes Andrew Booth. Up there on the 4 stand is Josh Devane. Punching up the neck. A little bit of lift and swing as he gets over a couple of wrinkles. Scott Cameron from Alexandra comes under the shoulder on the 2 stand, down and out to the flank. Jack Gordon from Timaru up on the number 1. Very carefully negotiating over the dewlap on that neck on the last side of his second sheep. Not too far off the pace of everybody. Josh Devane just taking his time, just a young shearer, enjoying the occasion. I know he's got the quality, I've seen him go before. The more experienced hand of Andrew Booth straightens his back. He says, crikey, it's a long time down over those fellas. Here's a quick yarn to the judge. How many points did I get knocked for? Well, if you didn't take the back socks off, you're going to get banged 2 per sock. That's just for looking at it. So there, sheep down the porthole for Adam Gordon. Sheep down the porthole for Jack Gordon up here on the front. So we just got a couple of shearers in the next heat. Will Sinclair and Savi Taitoko. Pulled up here yesterday and there was no hurry and flurry. Everything was pretty much set up. Just the machines to swing in the air. Went up and found my lodgings at the top end of town. From John and Jen up there at the lodge. Great hosts. Okay, that's the end of heat number 2. Shearers off to the right, please. All day, off to the right. Om from the left. So we have got a couple of shearers this time round. Will Sinclair and Savi Taitoko. Troy Christie, Patrick Duncan and Rion Puna to report, please. Make sure you get into the door. Hopefully you paid your money. Righto, heat number 3, take the board. Ooh, hello, we've got extra. Oh, I haven't been advised of this. We've got Jordan Boys on stand number 1. Nobody told me about these fellas.
That I know about.
I didn't get these names. I didn't get these names. I only had 2 in that last heat. Yeah. So I need to be advised of this.
They got the wrong.
No.
Right, here is the open. So the ones with the marks are here. So that's every one.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
These guys not sharing. That's what they're supposed to be. We've got one shearer there, I see. He just put the wrong names up. He's gone for the open or whatever. So he jumped ahead of. It spooked me. I thought, I haven't seen those names. So we just got two shearers to go.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 shearers to go. Will Sinclair and Savi Taitoko. Take the board, please. Put him in the middle. You want him in the middle or what? Put them on 3 and 4, please. Could we have on 3 and 4? Will Sinclair and Savi Taitoko. Savi Taitoko, last call. There we go. On from the right. Spook me. That's the way. Shear on 3 and 4. Put you in the limelight. We'll just get some names up there in a moment. Troy Christie, Patrick Duncan, and Rion Puna, are you in the building? Make sure you have entered at the entry table as you came through the main door. The first heat of the Open will be Ricky Chase, Jordan Boys, Vinnie Stringer, John O'Neill, Angus Moore, and Jared Morgan. That is the first heat of the Open. We will be up next. We're on a win. Oh, you can. It's hard to pull it back, too. Okay, Shearer's on the board. You haven't got a handpiece in your hand. You can't go and pluck all that wool out. Impossible. There's too many fibres per square centimetre. Shearer's on the board. Thank you. Okay, heat number 3. Timekeepers right, judges, competitors, go. So the name of the game is to keep this show flowing along. The last thing you want to do is upset the fellow with the black ice cream. A good show just keeps rolling along and everybody keeps happy. If I'm not chasing your tail, somebody's chasing my tail. So I tend to pass that sort of buck on. So we'll keep it all simple and make it easy, and everybody be on time for their heats. It'll be awesome. The Kevin Butler and the Merton Zagri Senior Winter Comb, this is the final heat. On stand number 4, Savi Taitoko and Will Sinclair up on the 3 stand. Will's from Oamaru. And Savi Taitoko from up in the north, in Aria. Famous place in the mid-North Island. Been some top shearers come out of Aria in the past. The legendary Tom Bro, Buddy Robbins. Oi, crikey. High standard of shearers from the bygone days. But here we are live in Waimate for the 55th Shears, the spring shear. Well, I suppose it's spring. I saw a couple of daisies on the lawn the other day. A little bit of wintry conditions over the last couple, just to remind us that we'll keep our jerseys handy. And maybe up the intake of some nice warm cups of tea, or likewise liquid, to keep you right, body and soul. Great list of sponsors supporting this 55th competition. Huge numbers on the board, also around the rest of the complex. But one of the major sponsors, of course, is the farmer who supplies the sheep for this competition. There are several. You might think they're getting their sheep shorn for nothing, but there's a lot of organisation making sure they're in the right shearing condition. Got to get them in for crutching. Got to keep them dry for show day. Make sure the trucks don't jam them in too tight. The trucks were out on the property this morning at about 3:30, I believe. They're loading these wrinklies. So a big, massive effort from the trucking firm as well. You see some of these sheep are quite straight on the neck, but there's still a little bit of feathering to do as we come on to the last side now for Taitoko from up in the north. A few years ago you wouldn't have seen the females attacking these wrinklies, but by golly, we've embraced them as they've joined this community in this on the board. I just had a word from Warren White, the chairman here, and he says that these sheep just love looking at water. They're looking over Lake Benmore and out that way, Omatata, and so they're sort of used to water but don't really like it. Like most sheep, just a little bit of a suck at the puddle every now and again to keep the fluids in. But they'll be out there grazing on the high and the hard, hiding away from the humans. A little bit of a slip down the porthole for that one. It'll go down there and a kick and a wriggle. It'll be on its feet for the judges. You see these judges on the board. They keep revolving along even though there's only 2 shearers on the board. They've each got their allotted time to be looking at this sheep. And then they swing around and start the chain again. Another panel of judges out the back with the sheep are tipped up and studied from head to toe. As we go down the belly on sheep number 1, the judge has got a little bit of time to just flick the belly out. Of course, that'll be a separate line. There'll be at least 7 or 8 lines of wool coming out of this fleece. Later on in the program this afternoon, you'll see. Later on in the program this afternoon, you'll see the wool handlers having a crack. We'll have some dedicated shearers removing the wool for at least 4 competitors at once on the front here. They'll be all throwing fleeces. Skirting, a lot different to the crossbred wool where you try and get as much in that main line as possible. We're here in the merino style, you take it out as much as possible. But of course you still get paid on the bulk line, the main line. That's the multi-dollar. Some are up towards $25 a kilo if you get the right stuff. Okay, remembering the first heat of the Open is Chase, Boys, Stringer, O'Neill, Moore and Morgan. If we could get onto the left-hand side of the stage, guys. As we complete this last heat of the senior, heat number 2, will be Stacey Tahuya, Chris Vickers, Jack Ringiuia, Thomas Lambert, Colin Denson, and Corey White. Yeah, that's quite good. So we're just looking at the wool here as it's coming off. I've been advised, I'm no expert on this job, but they tell me it's a 17 micron. So that, you know, that's up there in the big dollars per kilo. We come across the last side here on stand number 3. Will Sinclair just over the brow. Oamaru comes under the shoulder and down at the flank. Taitoko from the North Island area comes onto the last side, so there's not much between these shears. It's all about the quality of shearing. Remembering the back socks to come off. If you don't have a crack at those back socks, you're going to get whacked a couple of points per sock. And that's pretty tough. All vying for a place in that final later on in the program. It will be this morning. Sabi Taitoko coming across that last leg. As I say, we've had our ladies in the wool handling industry for donkey's ages. In the last 18 years, there's been a swell in numbers in the shearing with a handpiece as well. One of the many who have joined the game. Quality shearers. Round of applause for the senior competition, ladies and gentlemen. That's the end of the heats. Well done, shearers. We'll move on now to heat number 1 of the Open. $1,200 up for grabs in this Open competition, sponsored by the Waimate Shearing and Wairua Downs and Lister. Also some special awards as well. This is for shearers whose tallies exceed 305 in an 8-hour day. That's a pretty good effort. Each shearer to shear 3 sheep. So your shearers take the board, please. Ricky, Jordan, Vinny, John, Angus, and Jared. So there will be a semi-final for those senior competitors. There will be a semi-final for those senior competitors, and that runs after the Open event. So the senior semi-finalists will be this morning. We have a name list for you very shortly. Jordan boys, stand number 2, please. Last call. Jordan boys from Owaka, are you in the stadium? No, Russell. It's not happening. It's not happening by the look of it. Last call. He's on the phone. Crikey. Well, I won't sing because I want to keep my voice for the rest of the day, but I'll let Peter McLaren go. No, yes. Has he hit the door yet? I must remind all shearers that it's your responsibility to be on time for your heat. Heat number 2.
He's just running in now, John.
Stacey Tahuya, Jakarangi Uria, Thomas Lambert, Colin Dennison, Corey White. And sorry, Chris Vickers is on the stand number 2 in the next heat. I think this might be a box rabbit, you think? Uh-huh. Just advise the man as he comes off the stage, don't upset him before he gets on there. So this event sponsored by Waimate Shearing in Wairua Downs and Lister. Okay, we're going to go. Everybody happy? Referee says timekeeper's right. Judges, competitors, go. Would Mr. Boys like to come and see me, please, here at the microphone table? Come and see me here, please. Once again, I do advise competitors to just be mindful of the time. We have a start time in the morning, and then we just keep on rolling through. So that tells you that at any stage your heat could be up. Come and check now and again just to make sure how we're running for time. I don't mind advising you that maybe we're a half an hour away or so. Have a bit of a guess yourself. We're now in the first heat of this open competition. We will move on through the 6 heats, and then we will go into the semi-finals of both the senior and open, and then into the finals of those events. To say that it's $1,200 up for grabs in this event for the first place getter, paying down to 6. It's not so much about the money, it's all about the kudos of that sash that you can hang on the wall or over the catching pen door if you so desire, just to let everybody know that you were there at the 55th Waimate Spring Shears. So the pace has just cracked up a little bit. We've got these open class shearers coming across the shoulder on the last side on stands 3 and 4. Thank you. We have the semi-finalists of the senior shear. Josh Quinn, Scott Cameron, Joseph Gordon, Mitchell Membries, Kievan Bowden, Tawharangi Taylor, Adam Gordon, Savi Taitoko, Andrew Booth, Jack Gordon, Josh Devane, Kevin Butler. you are the 12 lucky contestants to shear again. So you'll be running after the end of the open heats. So we have a little bit of back assistance from the stretchy up here on the one stand. Those things weren't designed or around when I was throwing a blade or two about, but they've prolonged the work life of a lot of shearers by supporting their stomach muscles to support their back. And you'll see a lot of them around the sheds these days, not so many in competitions. So Ricky Chase here on the front stand from up in the Thai Abbey. Be pretty cold up through there. I'm picking in the last couple of days as well. Ernie Stringer from Ramfurly up over the top. He's about to swing. John O'Neill from over in Alex. Off for the top knot. Couple of 3 shots around the horn a little bit. You don't want to get that lead tooth hooked up in the horn. There's Angus Moore from the top of the south. Up the neck and around the back of the head. He's about to swing. Finds the ear amongst that nice tight 17 micron wool. Not so much around the head, but that high quality fibre have been removed now as he goes across the dewlap on the neck. Closely followed by Jared Morgan, the local man from Waimate. Oh, here's a bit of a look along the board. You haven't got time to look along the board. You need to get that wool off as fast as you can. He's obviously looking for a chat, maybe, but the judges full on there just watching. The judges on the board have got a little counter in their hand and they're recording the number of second cuts to the wool fibre. As we try to keep this fibre, it's a golden fibre, keep it at one length. If you hack it about, it's not much value to anybody. As they come down the last side, Stringer leading the way. Big powerful shoulders, working off that last leg, cleans up the sock. He knows that there's 2 points per sock there. He says, I want those maximum points. When we first had these competitions, it was, you started with 100 points and they started taking points off after that for 20 points per minute on time. Then, of course, we revolutionised that scoring system maybe 20 years ago now. Might be more. That we start with nothing and then we just add on, so the scores are not as high. It looks a lot better if on the score sheet when you're not scoring 88 or 88.5, you're only scoring 23, 24, and that's time points calculated at 20 seconds per point, and along with your demerit points both on the board and out the back. So heat number 2, make sure you're ready to go. Heat number 2, Stacey DeHuya, Chris Vickers, we're down to Jake Rangiuia, Thomas Lambert, Colin Dennison, and Corey White. They are heat number 2. Heat number 3 will be Brent Roberts, Leon Samuels, Duncan Higgins, Paul Hodges, Duncan Leslie, Tari Edwards. Heat number 4, Lionel Tamara, Toko Hapuka, Grant Smith, Paul Robinson, Gavin Mutch, Willie McSkimming. Heat number 5, Troy Piper, Martini Mason, Ringakaha Paiwai, Hugh Lacey. Heat number 6 is David Gordon, Parada Abrahams, Nathan Stratford, and Jack Fagan. Sheep number 3, almost completed here on the 3 stand. The big strong shoulders around fairly master blaster. I'm out the last leg. Gets the plant switched off because he knows the clock's going to stop. Cool, that'll be awesome. So a little bit of tidying up work in that neck area on the front stand as Angus Moore completes the task on 5. O'Neill from Alexandra comes across the shoulder. He's trying to work his handpiece hand, his right arm as quick as he can. Left hand is moving away and out of the way of the teeth of that comb and just working the skin as he comes under the shoulder and down now to the flank. Morgan, the local man from Waimate, lays his big weather down into the long blow he goes. They've been very, very quiet, these sheep, this morning. They must just be enjoying this little bit of warmth that the heaters are blasting away here in the stadium. They can be rather naughty at times. So we're coming under the shoulder here on the front stand. Finishing touches down on the 6 stand as well. Under the hock, over the sock, over the tail, down the hole. So just reminding those senior shearers of their semi-final. Josh Quinn, Scott Cameron, Joseph Gordon, Mitchell Menzies, Kevin Bowden, Tafarangi Taylor, Adam Gordon, Sevi Taitoko, Andrew Booth, Jack Gordon, Josh Devane, Kevin Butler. That's in qualifying order. Top qualifier was Josh Quinn with a 43.3. So Shearer's off to the right. Fresh one's on from the left. Of Tahuia, Vickers, Puna, Rangihuia, Lambert, Dennison and White. Heat 3 to rock up and be ready shortly is Roberts, Samuels, Higgins, Hodges, Leslie and Edwards. Okay. All the names are up. That's cool. Quick look at the sheep. We're out of the pens now. That's awesome. Dan 2, Chris. Okay, we're ready to roll. Timekeeper's right. Judges. Competitors, go. Stacey Tahuya. Very experienced competitor up here in the front stand. Chris Vickers. On the 2, Jackring Uya. On the 3, on 4 we have Thomas Lambert, 5 Colin Dennison, and down on stand number 6 Corey White. Sponsors for this event are the Waimate Shearing and Wairua Downs, along with Lister. All want a crack at that final and hopefully get the big money at $1,200 for first prize. To the wool handlers, thank you for your time. You're here practicing your skills. It's ladies and gentlemen in the blue shirts up here. They're trying to be inconspicuous, giving you a free shot at watching the shearing. A very important part is cutting the wool off, but it's also equally as important as presenting it to the presser in tip-top order, and with all the dead fibres, dull fibres, shed stain, twigs, all that sort of stuff removed. And that is the job of our staff here on the lower board. Just watching the demonstration this morning as the fleece has been thrown here onto the table, and they'll go around and remove all the skirt wool off the outside, right round the fleece. The neck wool will come out. Anything around the top knot. And if the middle of the back isn't quite right, they'll rip that out as well. What they're looking for is just maybe the sides of the sheep where there's less damage due to the elements that the sheep's had to put up with in the last 12 months. So that's the stuff that's going to command the top dollar. Sheep number 2 on the board now. Just a little bit more pace for most of these shearers. Corey White's got a little bit more work to do down there on the 6th stand. Chris Vickers, he's cutting merino wool off, but he's also wearing the merino too to keep his body warm. He says, I want to be nice and loose when I get up there and shear these sheep, so he's got a little bit of extra cover on. No good getting older if you don't get wiser. Stacey Tahuya, full of concentration down here on the front. Looks to be getting it with ease as he drops it into that first off shoulder and into the long blow like he's shearing a crossbred. He's making this one look easy. He'll have one left in the pen though. And that could be a totally different ball game. Thomas Lambert from Christchurch around the back of the head. Jake Reguria into the first off shoulder. He starts to swing. He said, what did I get out of bed for so early this morning? To come down and shear these beautiful sheep. Tahuya across the shoulder now. Vickers across the shoulder. Tahuya's gone in for his third and final. So he's got a little bit of a jump on the field. Remember that the fastest time, he'll get the minimum points taken off. But of course, no good having the speed without the quality. The judges are donating their time here once again. Good to see them down here in the dark. The meet and greet before we actually get to work. Travel from far and wide. They'll have a little stint on the board here. They'll revolve around so everybody gets a turn. And then some of them will be down the back, the final judging. Some will be resting. It's all about making the job pleasant as possible and enjoying each other's company. Chris Vickers, third and final sheep on the board. Out comes Colin Dennison. Experienced campaigner from Koorau. Down there, Corey White finishing under the shoulder and down now to the flank. He's still got one in the box. But Stacey Tahuya, he's on his third and final sheep, making it look easy. Pleasure to watch. He comes out the last leg and down the hole just as quick as you like. And that took him just a shade over 2 minutes. I'm always a little bit worried when the chairman comes and sits alongside me. I always think I'm going to get a caning for not doing something right. But Colin, Warren here, he thinks that everything's going pretty sharp at the moment. Just been out of the building, come back, ever ready. Were they ever readies? You better watch the boy first, yeah. That'll be good. Corey's just back off the pace a bit, but he's doing all right. It's not all about speed. He's got the third and final one on the board. Time points may count against him, but it's all about the quality in these illustrious sheep. Nice shear there by Chris Vickers on that one. Must have picked that one and keep it for the final. Colin Dennison rocking up the long blow now. Finishing touches there for Jake. He's done the job on the third stand. Been in hand a couple of days, these sheep, just to make sure they were didn't get trapped in the snow on the hills. You think, as I say before, you think it's easy being a farmer and supplying to get your sheep shorn for nothing. It's not quite that simple. There's a lot of preparation. The sheep were out on the hill keeping their cool in the snow yesterday morning, but they were on the truck getting it all blown off at 3:30 this morning to be in here in time. So great effort from our truckies. Still half a sheep to shear now for Corey White. Across the shoulder, judges keep moving along the board. That's the story, and they just judge about half a sheep, and then they hand the card over to the next judge. And of course, the shearers are doing the right thing. They're just waiting for Corey to finish, and then they'll all move off to the right. It's just a courtesy thing. You don't step off the board before your mates completed the task down there. It's all about showing a little bit of sportsmanship. You know that you were once there at the back end of the field, whether it be in the shed or on the shearing competition. Every dog has his day. So that's Corey finished now. They all move off to the right, and we'll have the fresh heat on from the left. There's Brent Roberts, Leon Samuels, Duncan Higgins, Paul Hodges, Duncan Leslie, Tari Edwards. Go, mate. Yep. You're up in the front stand. Yep. So we're moving on now to heat number 3. Heat number 4 will be Taumata, Hapuka, Smith, Robertson, Much and McSkimming. Heat 5 will be Piper, Mason, Paiwai, DeLacy. Heat 6, Gordon, Abrahams, Stratford, Fagan. The senior semi-final, Heat 1, will be Butler, Gordon, Taitoko, Taylor, Menzies, Cameron. Heat 2 will be Devane, Booth, Gordon. That will be Adam Gordon in Heat 2. Bowden, Gordon, Joseph, and Quinn. So Kevin Butler, Jack Gordon, Savi Taitoko, Tafa Taylor, Taylor, Mitchell Menzies, and Scott Cameron. And Heat 2 will be Josh Devane, Andrew Booth, Adam Gordon, Kevin Bowden, Joseph Gordon, Josh Quinn. Very tough referee here today. There's no mucking around with him. He says, yeah, they're in the pen, you shear them. So we have the shearers on the board, please. And he's only tough because I stood on his toes this morning and made him cry. But he'll be right. Everybody happy? Thank you. Timekeeper's right. Judges, competitors, go. So you've all got the drift. You get those back socks off. That's the ones you got to worry about. Couple of points deficit if you don't. Brent Roberts from Matara. On stand 1, Leon Samuels in Invercargill. On the 2, Duncan Higgins from Marlborough on the 3. Geraldine's Paul Hodges on 4, and Alexander's Duncan Leslie on 5. And Tari Edmonds from Tamaranui on stand number 6. So Heat 4, Taumata, Hapuka, Smith, Robertson, Much, McSkimming. You guys got a couple of minutes and then we'll have you on the side of the stage, please. Well, they've got the first of their 3 sheep. needs a little bit of horn around the back of the head on some of these sheep. But if you're up here having a go in this merino shearing competition, you're more than likely been around that sort of area a time or two. And make sure you don't drop your lead tooth out. Don't put your second tooth into the horn. A little bit of pressure. Those teeth are a finely tuned steel, and they will pop off. And then it's all hell breaks loose. Nice work from Duncan Higgins. He comes across the shoulder here on the middle of the stand. Just leading the way. Tall, lean, young shearer. We haven't got all the flash Harry computer gear up on the side of the stand, so it's a little bit difficult to ascertain how quite even these shearers are, or whether somebody's got out in front. All he can do is guess at the time that it's taken the shearers to rip the wool off these sheep. You may get an idea of how well the shearer's gone as the sheep goes down the porthole. Would you just see how clean or how fluffy it is? There will be a little bit of fluff because they're shearing with a winter comb as such. Can be quite lethal, those winter combs, if you don't get the skin stretched out in the right places. The sheep kicks at the wrong time. Very delicate use of the right hand. The left hand is doing all the work. Leon Samuels, been on the winner's podium before. He's on the second stand, and he's just leading the way at the moment as he rocks up the big shots up the long blow. Higgins is a couple of shots in front of him, but the whole thing could change when they get onto the third sheep. Who knows? Don't forget to have a look around the hall and check out all the sponsors. You may know some of them. And next time you see them, and congratulate them for assisting in the running of the Waimate 55th Shears. 55 years is a long time in the job. Some of our people here that help run it have probably been associated with it all that time. I myself are just a newbie, my first time to Waimate. And the people have been very, very friendly. I had a bit of a word of advice from one of my fellow speakers that said this is the best place to come. The spring shears here at Waimate. Up the neck they go here in the open. Winter comb. $1,200 up for grabs if you make it to the final. Higgins and Samuels battling it out. Oh, door locked. Who locked the door? You can see we got all our helpers up the back there. They're farmers and aspiring shearers, past shearers. Just keeping the sheep nice and quiet in the pen. They're coming straight off the truck, along the back ramp, into the pen. No sorting, no drafting, all that's been done. Sheep were all nicely prepared last Monday or Tuesday, I believe. The crutching gang. A lot of shots going in under the shoulder there for Paul Hodges. He doesn't want to miss a trick as he comes under the shoulder and down out to the flank. And he's to back off the pace a little bit though as Leslie goes in. No looking around for him. He says, I got my eyes set on the target. Get that last one on the board. Get it shorn within a couple of minutes. Cunning Leon Samuels now is starting to show his prowess as he turns onto the last side. Got away from Duncan Higgins this time round. Stretching out that right front leg there as he comes under the shoulder, making sure he's got that skin all nice and flat to guide that handpiece across. Goes under the hock, very careful with his comb. Goes back for a little bit on the back. If you don't take it off on the board, they're going to hit you out the back for it anyway. Higgins is not too far away as he comes under the last side now. So we're getting towards the end of heat number 3. Brent Roberts comes over the first off shoulder. A little bit back off the pace. He might have had a couple of sticky ones. Wasn't quite watching him over those first 2. Leslie up the top now. The Tamarunui man Edwards turning on to the last side. Brent Roberts is a couple of shots behind him. Paul Hodges, he's on the money side of the sheep. And there's how Duncan Leslie come up the neck there. He had to break that wool open so the judge could look in. Especially on the merinos, you need to get that wool open on the neck so the judge can peer in and see what sort of a masterful hand you have as you go encounter the wrinkles. Oh, we've got the ever-readies here. Mr. President is going to be on fire. Over the shoulder on the last side. Down and out to the flank. Come on, Duncan. Keep it going, man. Brent Roberts hangs the handpiece up. Likewise as Edwards down on the 6. Next up, Taumata, Harpuka, Smith, Robertson, Much and McSkimming. You guys all gathered on the left side of the stage, please. Okay, Shearers off to the right. Thanks, guys. Heat 3 completed. Heat 4. This is Heat 4 going on now. Heat 5 will be Troy Piper, Martini Mason, Rangikaha Paiwai, and Hugh DeLacy. Heat 6 will be David Gordon, and we also have Jordan Boys in Heat 5. And Heat 6 will be David Gordon, Parada Abrahams, Nathan Stratford, and Jack Fagan. So those senior semi-finalists, Heat 1, Kevin Butler, Jack Gordon, Savi Taitoko, Tafarangi Taylor, Mitchell Menzies, Scott Cameron. Heat 2 will be Josh Devane, Andrew Booth, Adam Gordon, Kevin Bowden, Joseph Gordon and Josh Quinn. He will be running after heat number 6 of this open class. Okay, we're pretty right. Looks like we got the all clear from the referee, have we? Where is he? Oh, he's hiding behind the big screen. Okay, timekeepers right. Judges, competitors, go. So we've got this one underway. Timekeepers, I could hear the buttons beep. Unsung heroes, I've got to record that time so we can get the pace man. Pace man, of course, gets the fastest time, and everybody after that will be 20 seconds per point. So we have Lionel Tamara from Gore on the front stand. Toko Hapuka from Efton. On the 2, Grant Smith Rakaya on 3. Fourth stand, we have Paul Robertson from Australia. International flavour, Gavin Much from Dannyburg. An ex-Scotsman, but he's still Scots. Willie McSkimming from Oamaru. He's down on the number 6. So just the 2 more heats of Piper, Mason, Paiwai, DeLacy and Boys. And heat 6 will be Gordon, Abraham, Stratford and Fagan. You'll get a sash and a bit of prize money if you make the final. Sponsored by Waimate Shearing and Wairua Downs, along with Lister. Lister supplied the plants here, Tommy Wilson was installing him yesterday afternoon. Not a hell of a job going around shearing competitions and talking to people all day. But he knows what he's talking about because he's been a world champion, as Tommy Wilson. And once you've been a world champion, you're always a world champion. over the shoulder the last side. Toko Hapuka. A little bit confusing, and I see Toko, that's one where my nearest watering hole is, up in the Naki, a place called Toko. And the Hapuka is what I normally go out and chase out in the briny. But I haven't been fishing for a day or two, so it sort of reminds me of home, and I maybe perhaps could be fishing as the man with a name like Toko Hapuka. Lionel Tamara, well-travelled shearer. Likes the South Island these days, but originally from the north. He's coming out that last leg, using a couple of teeth as he skims across that lower part of the leg, getting that sock wool off. Grant Smith, the evergreen. Maybe he wants the top prize to add to his collection. Paul Robinson from Australia. Born and bred Shearer Merinos. Not a big man in stature, but he's got to have a big heart because he's obviously clipped one or two of these fellas in his time. Gavin Much. Out of the Dannyberg these days. Quick hand as he comes across that last front shoulder. Still got one in the box. Willie McSkimming. Down the six stand into the first off shoulder, swinging it for the long blow now. The long blow is not quite as long as it used to be. The shearers have changed the style a little bit and have now shear a shorter long blow because they go so far up under the tail. And when they drop down on that first off shoulder, they make big sweeping blows, so they clear the shoulder blade well and truly. But these are big long sheep, so you're covering a few centimetres to remove all the wool with one stroke of the comb and the cutter. Working hard. Kevin Much got his third sheep on the board. Looks like quite a straight one. Grant Smith chasing him along on the third stand. On the fourth, the Australian just a little bit behind. Pace-wise, Willie McSkimming goes in for number 3. Hapuka comes over the shoulder now. Smithy gets one out and sits still, you big beast. But Gavin Much just showing the way here at the moment. Not sure how his time's going, but he seems to be right on the pace. Down the chute for Toko Hapuka, in for sheep number 3. Robertson's got 3 on the board. Willie McSkimming a few blows in front of them as he comes up over the top. Taumata out the last leg. Couple of shots off getting his final sheep on the board. Gavin Much completes the task. The seniors were sharing there a couple of sheep in around about 7 or 8 minutes. Some were down into the 6s, but they say these open shearers, they're probably doing somewhere around about the 7. Just a little bit quicker in the hand, a bit more experienced. So Grant Smith, very experienced competitor, past winner, great merino shearer from the Rakaya. There's a bit of a yak to the judges. How did I go? He said, well, we got a few off you. Willie McSkimming says, crikey, that many. Didn't those other fellas wool blind you, he says. Under the shoulder and down out to the flank for Harpooker. Taumata a little bit back off the pace. Last leg being tidied up, the socks. Mr. Harpooker, well done. Nice little throw of the fleece here now. This high quality wool, about the 17 micron. Over the shoulder on the last side comes Taumata. Next heat will be Piper, Mason, Paiwai, DeLacy and Boys. Test. Still going all right? Nothing worse than a final when they run out. Yeah, I know. I've been caught. So just the 5 shearers in this heat. We'll start on wherever you want to start. I'm not sure. Jordan boys, you there? Cool. Put him on the back end. On 5, Jordan. Final heat will be David Gordon, Byrider Abraham, Nathan Stratford, Jack Fagan. Those senior semi-finalists, we will be running straight after the open elimination finishes. Okay, Shearers on the board, please. Oh, Shear at last. Crikey. As the referee got soft. If it was in the shearing shed, you'd have to shear it by crikey. But of course, the shearer has the right to call if he thinks he's got an unjust sheep. Just as soon as we can have you on the board. Sponsors for this event are the Waimate Shearing and Wairua Downs, and along with Lister, there's a heap of other sponsors' names around the hall. Thank you, Troy. Yeah, he's had a look at the sheep. He changes, puts the better comb on. Everybody's happy now. Timekeeper's right. Judges, competitors, go. So, righto, this is heat number 5. And the whir of the machines hops into action. As we have the 5th heat on the board, the Troy Piper from Cheviot on the front stand, Martini Mason from Masterton on 2. From Gore, Ringakaha Paiwai. Hugh DeLacy for Rangiora is on stand number 4. On stand number 5 is Jordan Boys from Owaka. So they've had that slight advantage of watching the previous heats go. Time-wise, sheep condition, shearing styles, points reduction, you know, they've had it all in front of them, these guys, the 4 previous heats. But of course it's their turn in the sun now, and can they do any better? The sheep is a great leveller. While they look all nice and fluffy and rosy in the pens, under that cover of beautiful white fibre, can be a whole lot Back along a little bit more pace now. Still got one in the pen. A little bit of poking and jabbing coming over the last off shoulder. The money side of the sheep there for Jordan Boys. Using that left arm, the left hand, the fingers are just stretching up that skin. You don't want to get a tooth hooked in the wrinkle, as Troy Piper has hit the pace. Must have got rid of his more difficult sheep, the first one. Martini Mason. Powerful shoulders on this Wairapa man. I was going to call him a young man, but he's not quite so young anymore. Been around a little while. Paiwai, finishing touches. Right up against the door of his fellow shearer. But he managed to get it down the porthole before it broke away. So everybody looks like they've got a job and they've settled into their routine this morning.
It's a kind of a thing. It's a kind of a thing to...
If you haven't got a job, just go and see Eileen Smith and she'll help you out. She'll point you in the right direction. Or talk to the president, Mr. Warren White. If you want to join the committee, see either one of the committee members and help out. It is a worthy cause. So the pace up here on the one stand now. Troy Piper. Around the back of the head and down onto that last side he swoops. Just half combing as he comes down the neck a little bit. Works off that top of the brisket. Down and out to the flank and right out the last side he comes. He's certainly quickened the pace up on that second and third sheep by Koki. Has a look down the board, he says, oh, well, that's not so bad. I've got away from these other fellas. Then he goes to the judges, how did I go? Eyes are following the handpiece. The Paiwai there on stand number 3. And he hits the button. You notice these shearers are very, very casual at getting that plant turned off. When it gets onto the crossbred sheep, time is so important. They'll be turning that plant off while the sheep still lying on the floor, because that's when the time's taken. Minuscule seconds can cost you a lot of eventual time points. Not quite so bad in the merino section. So one more heat to go. That's the fifth and heat out of the road. David Gordon, Pirata Abrahams, Nathan Stratford, Jack Fagan, please. shearing still working. So just the 4 shearers this time around. Very quiet machines. Don't make any noise until they're turned on. The 6th and final heat is on the board. Next on the card will be the senior semi-final, 2 heats. Okay, can we have the shearers on the board, please? Nathan Stratford's in there trying to confuse the pen staff. Or he confuses himself. No seconds in the pen. Resident staff only. Okay, thank you. Everybody happy? Timekeepers right. Judges, competitors, go. So they've all hatched a cunning plan. That cunning, you can put a tail on it and call it the donkey. But no, it's just the merino coming out of the pen. Down the belly with 4 or 5 shots. Negotiate the male appendix in the middle. And swing around through the crutch and down the first off leg. That's the plan. Back socks to come off. So these fellas obviously entered first in this competition because they're last in the draw. And that's how it works. You enter first, you shear in the last heat. Saves a lot of mucking around. There's David Gordon from Masterton up on the front stand. Also from the north, Parada Abrahams. On 2. On 3, the southern man from Invercargill, Nathan Stratford. And there on stand number 4 from the so-called shearing capital of the world, Tigawiti, is Jack Fagan. Next in line for the shearing will be the senior semi-final of Kevin Butler, Jack Gordon, Savi Taitoko, Tawharangi, Taylor, Mitchell Menzies and Scott Cameron. That's heat 1. So a quick shear on that first merino, and Pirata Abrahams got number 2 on the board. Nathan Stratford, high quality shearer. Always qualifies real high in any shearing competition he's entered in. But of course, sometimes things can upset you. Just like dragging that sheep out, the sheep got its foot caught. Jack Fagan next in line. Down the belly. Those 4 or 5 blows fix the belly out the back. All handlers not in attendance are busy at the table rolling the fleeces. It's all got to be sorted in those half a dozen lines of frib, socks, bellies, briskets, all sorts of different lines that require their attention. Ryder Abraham, no quick hand, coming down that last side now. Got a handful of loose skin there, his left hand, just trying to make this nice and flat as he comes across that last leg, down the hole. What sort of time are they doing, John? John, what sort of time are they cutting them out in? So, yeah, just looking at the time, time T was advised me that Parada Abrahams has just taken about 4.5 minutes to do 2 sheep. So he's rocking it along. Changing his footwork with every blow. Very important to be well balanced when you're shearing a big sheep like this. You need the sheep to be as comfortable as possible. They don't like sitting on bone for too long. So you just keep moving the sheep, rocking and rolling it around the board with every shot you put in. Things seem to just go with the flow. There you have for sheep number 3. Likewise with David Gordon. This Fagan's been very careful on number 4. No reckless stuff with themselves at the moment. As they're shearing with these winter combs, they just take a little bit of handling. Mindset's a little bit different. Preparation. You got to sit the heel of the handpiece down on the skin so you're cutting across it, not into it. Ready, unlike him to be just out the back a little bit, but Parada Abraham's had a good shear here. He could have the fastest time. I haven't been keeping an eye on it, but he got that off pretty quickly. 6.5 minutes, so about 2 minutes to shear that last one. So, you know, you're talking about 2 minutes a sheep. Well, that's 6 points in time. It can hurt you if you get a bit back off the pace. David Gordon, just a young shearer. But quite an experienced young shearer. Been at the game a little while. Right from when they were just puppies. Brought up in the shearing shed. Nathan Stratford, finishing touch of him. Over the hock, onto the sock. Very quick to turn his dropper off. He knows that those minuscule seconds count. as Jack Fagan comes to the last side. Not many marinas up in Tikawiti where Jack comes from. Only the ones that come in on a truck for a shearing competition. Just a few more blows on what it would take to shear a crossbred sheep. A little bit more work with the left hand. A little bit more pain in the back because you're down there for about 2.5, 3 minutes or even longer sometimes. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. That's the last of our open shearers. We now move on to the senior semi-final. In the senior semi-final, they'll be shearing 3 sheep. We will complete this senior semi-final, then there'll be a wee tea break so the judges can wet their whistle. Okay, senior shearers take the board, please. Heat 1. Butler, Gordon, Taitoko, Taylor, Menzies, Cameron. On 4, Ta. Stand 4, Ta. Well, things must be warming up there. The judges are under stress. They've got their jerseys off. I suppose that's all about getting a bit of movement. Three sheep to shear in this event. Sponsored by Kevin Butler and Merton Zag. Good as gold. We've got the all clear from the referee. Could we have the shearers on the board, please? Stand 3. Savvy. Thank you. Good luck, competitors. Okay. Everybody happy? Timekeepers right. Judges, competitors, go. So been taken, what did it take, 6.5 minutes for Parada Abrahams to shear his 3 sheep in that open elimination round. These are senior shearers. We're going to have to clock another couple of minutes onto that. But of course, They'll want to be doing the job right, not all about the pace. Kevin Butler, a local man from Waimate, up on the number 1. Jack Gordon from Timaru on 2. Savitai Toko from Aria. On the 4 stand from Murupara, Tafa Orangi Taylor. Mitchell Menzies from Ranfurly on 5. And from Alexander will be Scott Cameron on the 6 stand. So the semi-final, wanting to make it through into that, the last cut. There'll be $700 up for grabs. Just about a couple of $1,000 up for grabs in this event. Spread over the 6 competitors that are going to be in the final. And any one or all of the 6 could make it. Same sheep. Same venue, just a different time of the day. Over here, first thing, 7 o'clock. For their elimination rounds. Now we're just gone past 9:15 and we're into the semi-final. We'll share another semi-final and then we'll have a cup of tea. this one settle down a little bit. Up on the front stand. It's still being a little bit naughty. There's one up here, Kevin. Have a little bit of a chat to it, Josh. Start singing if that's what makes it happen for you. And get it shorn as quickly as possible. She wants to get out in that sunshine. With all the pace. On stand 5. Got an easy, good rhythm at the moment. With Joseph Gordon from the Wairapa. That was a pretty good time for a senior shearer on that one. Maybe it's his best sheep. Adam Gordon says, "You're not getting away from me, brother." Bowden on the 4 stand, out the last leg. He'll know where he is in relative pace-wise as Josh Quinn goes in. He had a good shear in the qualifying rounds. Over the top now comes Josh Devane. Working it away over that last side. Giving him a bit of grief, the sheep. She says, "I need to get out, need a bit of moss." And he goes out the last leg in this old wrinkly weather. He says, "Crikey, mate, give us a break." As Andrew Booth steps in. Josh Devane, finally, he says. Look, he made a pretty good job of it, by, even though it was kicking and wriggling. So they're all pretty close. The next 4. Gordon and Gordon pretty much blow for blow. 3 or 4 back as Quinn down on the 6. Quick hands here from Bowden on 4 as he comes up the undermine. Leans his sheep back, just tries to stretch the fibre with his left hand to take out that wrinkle in the flank. But Gordon on 5 swings onto the last side now. Around the first off shoulder, down on stand number 6 is Quinn from Seddon. He's trying to hang on to the tails of the Gordon boys. He knows he doesn't want to be half sheep behind the pace, because it's going to hurt comes the tally time with the points. Joseph Gordon under the shoulder and down and out to the flank he swings. Adam Gordon across the top of the shoulder. Josh Devane got a kind of animal this time. That other one he's saying now, "I'll take your jolly juggler out." Could it be on the barbecue tomorrow night, that other one, that first one? Last and the 3rd and final sheep out now for Joseph Gordon. Oh, some quick shots coming in from Josh Quinn down on the back stand. Out the last leg, over the hock, over the tail, down the hole goes Adam Gordon. Things are tightened up here in the speed stakes. Not getting too flustered as Andrew Booth here on the front on the 2 stand. Big dew lap he had to stretch out there. Kevin Bowden on stand at number 4. Just lifts the head slightly. Trying to get a better control on his sheep as he comes down and out the final leg. Pretty much blow for blow with Adam Gordon and Josh Quinn. With Joseph Gordon on the 5. Steps up the neck and around the back of the head he's about to swing. Punching his way up the neck there is like Shear and old Cotty crossbred. You got to keep pushing those teeth through the wool. It is very dense. 17 micron, $25 to $30 worth a kilo. Let's hope. Adam Gordon starting to fire him in quick. He knows he lost a bit of time on that second sheep. He's got his third and final one on the board now. Likewise as Andrew Booth. Josh Devane, the youngster from Taihape, still back off the pace a little bit. Bowden's got another one on the board. Oh, the quick blows coming in from stand number 6. He's starting to cut away the lead of Gordon. This Quinn, he may have hit the front. Oh no, up here on the 3 it's Adam Gordon come across with a powerful finish. Josh Devane stands that one up and down the portal. Needs to get on with the job. Down and out to the flank here on the stand at number 3. Down and out to the flank on stand number 6. 3 shots, 4 shots further back. On 5, Joseph Gordon, but it's Adam Gordon. Quicken the pace up on his third and final sheep. Hits the button. He whipped it out that last one. A little bit of a wriggle and Quinn down the far end completes the task. Joseph Gordon will hit the early lead, but got Pip at the post, they say. Down the portal. Be gone with your mate, he says. So just the final 3 shears to show their skills to the judges. Maybe for the last time. Or maybe they'll be back here for the final later on this morning. No, he didn't. So here we have the Taihape man coming across the shoulder on the last side. He's the last to turn for home, but as Kevin Bowden there completes the task, he says, no, I've done enough. I only got 3 this year. A bit more of a chance later on if you make the final, copper. Where you'll shear 5 sheep. Andrew Booth completes the task there. Josh Devane. He's calling for the pocket knife on that first Merino. But anyway, he's sure very well. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. We will see some of those shearers back, maybe all of them for the event. Next up, we're having a cup of tea. And then we're going to start with the open semis. 3 heats of.